Well, last week we marked the fall equinox. And if you were here, you might remember that Lynn Unger, our resident poet, shared one of her poems about the fall equinox as that point on the roller coaster when you stop going up and you start to go down and you feel it start to release. That's how I always feel at this time of year, when the geese are flying overhead, when the garden's starting to turn into seeds for the birds for the winter, when the leaves are beginning to turn here in the North Country where I live. I always feel this kind of terror that I feel at the top of the roller coaster where I know it's going to go down, and part of me thinks, what am I doing on here? I made a big mistake. Quick, get off! And then whoosh, the joy of the release takes place. I love the fall. It's my favorite season, and there is part of me that dreads it with every fiber of my being because here in Minnesota, it gets so cold. Lately, as I've walked out the door, I've just felt this amazing gratitude that I can feel the air and not brace myself and not be all dressed in super warm clothes, but just, just the right amount of clothing. It's so comfortable. The air is my friend. As much as I look forward to cuddling in by the fire and cooking a pot of soup or stew and really, that lovely feeling of coming in and hunkering down, part of me also just says, no, please, no, not that. I think that same mix of longing and dread is present for most of us when we think about being a member of a community. We long to be seen. We long to be part of a diverse group that holds us and knows us and brings in fresh perspective and imagines things we could never think of and that we can sing rounds with and all the things we can do in community. But then if we think they're actually going to look at us and scrutinize us and tell us maybe we're not living up to our values or maybe something else that makes us uncomfortable, then that bit of dread, no, I don't want to be here, let me go off by myself, can come in. That's a balancing act that we're always doing. That longing to be known, that dread, that terror, that fear of being seen by multiple eyes that we can't control, and maybe we don't even know them, and they're going to see us and give us feedback. A couple weeks ago, I shared the spiritual practices of being in community. If you were here, you might remember. Let's see if you do. The first one is to expect and accept that some people are going to bug you. The second one is to lead with compassion, to lead with being compassionate for yourself and for the other person, even if they're saying things that really challenge you. And the third one is a constant practice of forgiving yourself and forgiving others for massive, not small, but massive imperfection. Those are spiritual practices. I just wanted to talk a moment today about some practical things that I think can build community. And one of them is finding structured time to come together and see each other. Now, our staff is far-flung. We have people all across the country. And yet I'd say we are really developing a community, not just a network or co-workers, but a real community. We've been with each other through deaths of loved ones, through divorces, through struggles, through spouses losing jobs, through part-time people with us losing their other job. We're there for each other in hard times. And one way that we can do that is that we have times we come together regularly to build trust, to share when something hard comes up. For those of you who come here regularly, I hope that you feel that building of trust so that if it was a time in your life when you needed to share something hard, you would know that that was okay because other weeks you've been able to support somebody else sharing something hard, or you've been able to simply be present and be part of the holding community. So that's one thing, I think, is to come together. Another one that's a really strong bias of mine is to laugh together. A friend of mine recently started laughing yoga. And when she told me she was doing that, I pictured getting into elaborate yoga poses and laughing while you were in them. It sounded a little weird, but people do stuff. And so then another friend said, no, it's not hatha yoga, it's hatha yoga. And hatha yoga means that what you do is you just come together and you laugh, because laughing is really good for your diaphragm and it's really good for your breathing and all kinds of stuff. And I thought that's one kind of exercise I am vigilant about getting. Other kinds, not so much. That kind I get every single day. I'm going to tell you, if a day goes by when I haven't laughed so hard that I kind of had to like stop myself, it's a bad day. And my staff loves to laugh together. People are committed to making one another laugh. That's something I think that hatha yoga that we can all practice together. I love it when people post silly remarks in the chat. You know, others might say that's not the time to be silly. I think silliness builds community. So times to come together, times to laugh, and then times to risk sharing when we're hurt or when we don't understand, times to risk. And those need to be structured in. You need to create an environment where that's okay, where it's not like everything's always fine and then you're always the one going, no, it's not, no, it's not. There needs to be room built in for people to say what's up with them, what's great, what needs to be celebrated, and what's hard. So that it's just part of coming together. And so if someone says to you, what you said is hard, you're not like, oh my God, it's a cardinal offense. It's just another day. Of course it was hard. These are practical things to build in. Time together, time to laugh together, time to share what's hard together. I say this to you guys because I want to tell you something that's hard for me. You don't show up when we invite you to come and be seen on video. Last year I tried to say, come, I'll do a Zoom every week. Just come and tell me what's going on in your life. And like maybe one or two of you would come. What's with that? How come you're not coming? You don't want me to see you? Turn your video camera off. I don't have to see you. I'd love to hear your voice. I'd love to hear what you're saying. And I'm going to be reinstating this practice of regular Zoom meetings so you can just tell me what's going on so I know you and so that you can share how this community is working for you. I'll be sharing more about that, but this is to all of you who are shy. Go on, lean in, take a risk. I'll make you laugh if you come. I promise. Oh, that's a terrible promise. I could never promise to make you laugh. I'll make myself laugh if you come. That's a really easy promise to keep because I'm easy. Okay, that's what I got to say today. But here's the one more thing. You're going to be meeting some of our new community members, and I'm so excited about that because they're fabulous people. They're going to be introducing themselves and talking about community a little bit from their perspectives, and they've got a lot to say. So I can't wait for you to meet some people that I love, and keep sharing.